In the cave full of strong smell, a young man sat cross-legged, his eyes closed, motionless, like a stone statue. There is an empty basin in front of him, and there is still red liquid on the bottom of the basin, which looks like the blood of some kind of creature. After a while, the boy suddenly opened his eyes and looked around in confusion. Where is this place? Jiang Chen remembered that he was playing games at home all night. It was a very popular cultivation game recently, and it was very difficult. The main reason was that the exercises in the game had serious side effects, and they could die at any time. He couldn't pass the level after playing all night, so he downloaded a modifier and prepared to cheat. But just after downloading it, before I could use it, my eyes went dark and I lost consciousness, and when I opened my eyes again, I came here. Am I transmigrating? Looking at the unfamiliar environment and body in front of him, Jiang Chen had to accept the fact that he had traveled through. Immediately afterwards, a strange memory appeared in his mind, and Jiang Chen's face suddenly became ugly. This is a world of cultivating immortals, with gods, immortals, demons, and ghosts. Immortal cultivators are divided into two camps, righteous way and evil way. The two attacked each other and robbed resources. The original owner was also called Jiang Chen, an outer disciple of the blood god sect of the demon Dao. The technique of the blood god sect is called blood nerve, and it needs to be practiced by devouring blood. When practiced to the highest level, it can be reborn from a drop of blood, immortal. In addition, the blood nerve also has a special effect. Practitioners can devour each other's blood, perfectly absorbing each other's cultivation. For practitioners of blood nerves, other practitioners are the panacea for walking. Although the blood god sect forbids disciples to kill each other, many people take risks in private. Since it is a demon way, it is natural to act evil and deviant. Of course, the blood god sect is not completely cultivating disciples, but also raising pigs. Disciples who are unable to break through the realm within the specified time will be judged as having poor aptitude and not worthy of training, deprived of their status as disciples, and demoted to blood slaves. From then on, he couldn't help himself, and his blood was drawn every day for other disciples to practice. Outer disciples practice with the blood of monsters, inner disciples use the blood of outer disciples, direct disciples use the blood of inner disciples, and sect elders use the blood of direct disciples. Layer after layer, support the topmost people. Survival of the fittest, Magic Gate is so cruel. If you don't want to become a blood slave, you have to keep getting stronger and show the value of being cultivated by the sect. Everyone in the blood god sect practiced non-stop, for fear of becoming blood-eating. In order to break through the realm within the specified time, the original owner took the risk of devouring a lot of demon blood. It's a pity that the ferocity in the demon blood could not be eliminated, causing the ferocity to rush into the brain and the consciousness dissipated. The practice of the magic way is fast and powerful, but it will cause endless troubles, and if you are not careful, you will die. According to the memory of the original owner, I still have 1 month left. If I fail to break through to the 5th level of Qi training within 1 month, I will be drained of blood and become a resource for inner disciples to practice. Jiang Chen's expression changed, sometimes fearful, sometimes regretful, sometimes anxious. He had fantasized countless times about cultivating immortals, flying into the sky and escaping from the earth, and living forever, but he would rather not have this kind of situation. With the aptitude of this body, it is almost impossible to break through the 5th level of Qi training within a month, so the original owner took the risk of swallowing a large amount of demon blood. He also thought about running away, but the entire blood god sect was covered by a formation, and he couldn't get out without a token. Unless I have cheats. Jiang Chen was a little desperate. Ding! The modifier is activated. It seemed to be responding to Jiang Chen. As soon as he finished speaking, a mechanical voice came from his mind. Please wait a moment, the system is scanning. Cheater, I really have a cheater. Jiang Chen was so excited, he didn't expect that the modifier he downloaded would travel along with him. Detected the technique blood nerve, relying on devouring blood to practice side effects, easily affected by the spirit contained in the blood, becoming bloodthirsty, mad, and even brain dead. Please wait a moment, the system is being modified, ding. The modification is complete, and the side effects are cancelled, so, in the future, I can devour the demon blood to practice at will without any side effects. Okay, it's really great, it's worthy of being a modifier. Jiang Chen was ecstatic. After a while, he calmed down and regained his composure. If it is true as the system said, as long as he has enough demon blood, it is not difficult for him to break through the 5th level of Qi training. But he has no confidence in his heart, and he can't believe what the system says. In order to avoid the same fate as the original owner, it is necessary to conduct experiments to confirm whether the modifier is really effective. A disciple of the Blood God sect can receive a bowl of demon blood for training every day, and it just so happens that he did not receive his share of demon blood today. However, before that, he was going to get acquainted with the body first. I feel like I could kill a cow with one punch. Jiang Chen clenched his fist excitedly and waved it towards the air. This body has 4 levels of Qi training, which is very weak in the original owner's memory. After all, there are too many people in the sect who are stronger than him, and they belong to the lowest level. But for Jiang Chen, who is an ordinary person, it is like an ordinary person suddenly becomes a Superman. Strong, really too strong. The strengthening of the body is only incidental, and the real ability is the blood spirit power cultivated. The spiritual power cultivated by the blood nerves is fused with the blood, and the blood in the body is the means of attack and cultivation. Jiang Chen ran his blood nerves a little strangely, reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Mobilize the blood and spiritual power in the body. The blood in the body suddenly surged, as if it was alive, full of spirituality. Immediately afterwards, a large amount of blood overflowed from the pores, rendering Jiang Chen a blood man. It can be said that it is indeed a magic technique, and it looks very evil and terrifying. When Jiang Chen raised his hand, the blood quickly gathered in the palm of his hand like wriggling jelly, forming a sphere. Miraculously, there was no blood stain on the clothes on his body. With Jiang Chen's thought, the blood began to change shape in his hand. Knives, guns, swords, halberds. It's a lot of fun to play. Try the power again. With a wave of Jiang Chen's hand, a drop of blood shot towards the stone wall in front of him. Boom! There was a flash of red light, and there was a thumb-sized, 10-centimeter deep hole in the wall. This power is comparable to bullets, right? It's just that the 4th level of Qi training is so strong. How strong should it be at the foundation building stage, Jindan stage, and nascent soul stage? Jiang Chen's eyes lit up, and his heart was fascinated. And according to the memory of the original owner, he hasn't learned spells yet. This is just the most basic use of blood spirit power. If he uses spells to attack, the power can be several times greater. In the foundation building stage, various attributes and abilities can be added to the blood, the most common being highly poisonous. The blood is highly poisonous, and ordinary people will die if they touch it. I heard that there is a Jindan elder in the Blood God sect who poisoned a whole city with a drop of blood. From now on, I am also a cultivator. No, it should be said to be a magician. Looking at the scarlet blood in his hand, Jiang Chen sighed softly. With a thought, the blood was reabsorbed into the body, and he could clearly feel that the blood was less, which should be the consumption just now. After adjusting his mentality, Jiang Chen got up and walked out, trying to behave like the original owner so as not to cause trouble. They, the outer disciples of the Blood God sect, all lived in caves. Looking around, the densely packed caves on the mountain range were very spectacular. The entire sect was shrouded in a faint mist of blood, and it was filled with the smell of blood. I met many disciples on the road, but they were all very indifferent, turning a blind eye to each other and wary of each other. With the memory of the original owner, Zhang Chen arrived at the Internal Affairs Hall where he received the demon blood. There are quite a few people in the Internal Affairs Hall, some are here to receive the demon blood, and some are here to receive the mission of the sect. Regardless of whether they are outer disciples or inner disciples, they have to complete a sect mission every year. Speaking of which, the original owner's sect this year has not yet been established. But there is still time. The most urgent thing is to break through the 5th level of Qi training. If he can't break through the 5th level of Qi training within a month, his blood will be drained and he will become the blood food of inner disciples. Although anxious in his heart, Zhang Chen still consciously went to the back of the line and waited quietly. Seeing that there were fewer and fewer people in front of him, Zhang Chen couldn't help becoming nervous. What if the modifier has no effect? Half an hour later, Zhang Chen returned to his residence with the demon blood he had received. Whether you can survive depends on whether the modifier is really effective. Zhang Chen opened the water sack containing the demon blood, gulped down, and then immediately began to perform exercises to transform and absorb the spiritual energy in it. I don't know if it's because of the training of blood nerves, or this body has already gotten used to the smell of blood. Not only did Zhang Chen not find the demon blood unpalatable, but he found it very sweet. According to the memory of the original owner, at this time, the ferocity in the blood will attack the consciousness. Only by consuming consciousness and obliterating the ferocity can the demon blood be completely transformed and absorbed. Moreover, the consciousness will be more or less tainted with ferocity, which will be affected over time and become bloodthirsty, and mad. But this time, he didn't feel any ferocity at all, and his consciousness wasn't exhausted at all. Modifiers really work. Zhang Chen was very excited. This meant that he could devour demon blood indefinitely for training. As long as he had enough demon blood, it would be easy to break through the 5th level of Qi training within a month. Soon, a bottle of demon blood was transformed and absorbed. Zhang Chen opened his eyes with some unfulfilled intentions, his eyes were burning. The next step is to get a lot of demon blood. Except for the demon blood distributed by the sect, the only way to get demon blood is to go out to hunt monsters, or buy it from other people. It is very dangerous for the original owner to go out with low strength. In addition to monsters, he also has to beware of his fellow disciples. The only option is to trade with others. Some inner disciples would hunt and kill monsters to get their blood, but instead of using it for training, they would sell it to outer disciples. The outer disciples are poor and poor. What are the inner disciples thinking about? Of course it's the blood of the outer disciples. Because of the special nature of blood nerve, the blood between practitioners can be perfectly absorbed, and there is no ferocity. The original owner exchanged his own blood for a pot of demon blood. Inner disciples will not sell demon blood in person, but find an outer disciple to act as a spokesperson. Because this is detrimental to the interests of the sect, it cannot be done blatantly, it can only be done secretly. Not long after, outside a cave where Zhang Chen came, he called out in a deep voice, "Is Senior Brother Chen here?" The Senior Brother Chen that Zhang Chen was talking about was called Xiaoqiang Ming, and he was one of the spokespersons who sold demon blood for inner disciples. After a while, a man who practiced Qi at the 6th level walked out of the cave. Seeing that it was Zhang Chen, Xiaoqiang Ming was a little surprised. "Didn't you come here yesterday? A friend of mine wants it. Is Senior Brother Chen still in stock?" Zhang Chen asked softly. Xiaoqiang Ming looked left and right, and after confirming that there was no one around, he nodded, "Come in with me." Like thieves, the two quickly entered the cave. The cave was filled with a pungent smell of blood, filled with wooden barrels and tubs. As usual, "How much do you want for a bowl of essence blood for a bowl of demon blood?" Xiaoqiang Ming cut to the chase. "Just change a pot first." Zhang Chen didn't dare to change too many at once, for fear of arousing suspicion. "Okay, let's do bloodletting." Xiaoqiang Ming picked up a wooden bowl and handed it over. Zhang Chen didn't talk nonsense, blood overflowed from his palm, filling the wooden bowl. This bowl of blood is equal to his 1 month cultivation. And refining a bucket of demon blood can increase one's cultivation for half a year. It seems that they have earned several times, but Qi training below the 7th level cannot train so much demon blood at once. With the passage of time, the spirit in the blood will be lost, and the effect will be weakened. Not to mention the consumption of ideas, and the impact of being contaminated with ferocity. His blood can be quickly absorbed and transformed by other blood nerve practitioners, which is also the reason why inner disciples exchange demon blood for essence blood. Chen Kongming looked at the viscous blood essence in the bowl, and after confirming that it was correct, he handed the wooden basin full of demon blood to Jiang Chen. "Take it, the demon blood you want." "Thank you, Senior Brother Chen, and I won't bother Senior Brother Chen anymore." After getting the demon blood, Jiang Chen had no intention of staying. "Brother, go well, remember to patronize brother's business more in the future." "Sure." Returning to the residence cautiously, Jiang Chen couldn't wait to gulp down the demon blood. Tun tun tun. Jiang Chen was drinking, and Yu was reading www.yuyuganshu.com while practicing exercises. It was not until late at night that all the pot of demon blood was refined. "I didn't feel tired at all, but felt refreshed. According to this progress, I will definitely be able to break through to the 5th level of Qi training within half a month." Feeling the surging blood spirit power in his body, Jiang Chen was full of energy. Many people have a dream of cultivating immortals, flying to the sky and escaping from the earth, and living forever. Jiang Chen is the same. Although he is a demon cultivator, but with modifiers, he believes that he will be able to go to the end and become a fairy and ancestor. There are quite a few people selling demon blood in the outer sect, so it shouldn't be a big problem for one person to change them a few times. On the second day, Jiang Chen went again to exchange for the demon blood, but in a different place. Time flies, 10 days passed quickly. The cave was filled with blood mist, constantly churning, as if something was brewing. Suddenly, the blood mist shrank rapidly, and all of it was sucked into the body by a figure sitting cross-legged. Finally practiced at the 5th level, a few days earlier than expected. Jiang Chen smiled. Break through the 5th level of Qi training within the specified time, and you don't have to worry about becoming a blood slave within 3 years. Without a sense of urgency, Jiang Chen felt relaxed. For the past 10 days, he has been going to change the demon blood every day, at most twice in one place, and he only picks places far away. For the next period of time, he planned to keep a low profile and change his demon blood every few days. There is still more than half a month before the test of cultivation, so let's do the sect mission first, and then you can practice with peace of mind. After making up his mind, Jiang Chen went to the Internal Affairs Hall immediately without delay. Although there are many people in the Internal Affairs Hall, they are basically here to receive the demon blood, and there are relatively few people who receive tasks. The two are collected separately, so there is no long queue. "Brother, I want to receive the mission of the section." Jiang Chen respectfully handed over his ID card. The Internal Affairs disciple took the ID card blankly and began to search for the task. Jiang Chen didn't urge, just waited quietly, avoiding to offend the other party, and arranged difficult tasks for himself. After a while, the Internal Affairs disciple said, "The animal garden will take blood for 1 month. The beast garden, the place where the blood god sect raises monsters in captivity, all the monster blood distributed to disciples comes from the beast garden. This task is dangerous. If you are unlucky and assigned to a grumpy monster, it may go mad and hurt people, and even died before." But Jiang Chen was overjoyed, because many inner disciples would raise the captured monsters in the animal garden. He needs a lot of demon blood to practice, and it is easy to cause suspicion and prying eyes if he keeps changing with others. If you join these inner disciples and become the spokesperson of the demon blood like Chen Kongming, you can directly obtain the demon blood from the disciples of the inner sect. Not only can the middleman avoid the price difference, but it will not be too suspicious. Whether it was sold, who it was sold to, and how much it was sold for is not up to him. As long as the amount of blood essence and blood is correct, inner disciples will not ask. Thank you, brother. Jiang Chen took back his ID card and prepared to go to the side to line up and claim the share of today's demon blood. Junior brother Jiang, are you here to receive the demon blood? Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded from behind. Jiang Chen turned his head to look, and found that it was Chen Kongming, and hurriedly saluted, "Is senior brother Chen also here to collect the demon blood?" Chen Kongming looked Jiang Chen up and down, a little surprised. "Have you broken through the 5th level of Qi training?" "Thanks to senior brother, I just broke through yesterday." Jiang Chen didn't hide it, and he couldn't hide it from people with a higher level than himself. Junior brother Jiang was able to make a breakthrough in the last half-month. It's really a blessing. But I'm afraid it will be difficult for junior brother to complete the next assessment. Chen Kongming seemed hesitant to speak. Jiang Chen was very cooperative, with a bitter face. "Yeah, good luck this time, maybe not so lucky next time." Chen Kongming gritted his teeth, as if he had made up his mind. "Junior brother Jiang, it's inconvenient to talk here. Let's say it in another place. Senior brother has a great opportunity to give to junior brother." Jiang Chen didn't believe that the other party would be so kind, but he didn't know what the other party wanted to do, so he stood there silently. Chen Kongming continued, "In the sect, brother Jiang is still afraid that the brother will harm you? And we will not go far, it is near the Internal Affairs Hall." Hearing this, Jiang Chen quickly explained, "Senior brother Chen, how could he harm me?" Brother Chen was too surprised, and I don't know how to answer for a while. Chen Kongming didn't expose it, he was still enthusiastic. "Junior brother, come with me." About 300 meters away from the Internal Affairs Hall, the two stopped. For a cultivator, this distance is indeed not far. Chen Kongming looked left and right, and only spoke after confirming that there was no one around. Senior brother recently obtained a book of secret techniques, which can improve aptitude and speed up the speed of practice. With the help of this secret technique, junior brother will definitely be able to complete the assessment. Brother really has the secret technique to improve aptitude. Jiang Chen was not surprised, but disbelieving. How could such a secret technique be easily given to others? Of course it is true. Chen Kongming took out a book from his sleeve and handed it to Jiang Chen. "Please read it, junior brother." Jiang Chen took the book dubiously, and carefully checked it. What Chen Kongming said is indeed true. This secret technique is called Burning Longevity Dafa. It takes 60 years of lifespan to upgrade an inferior spiritual root to a low-level spiritual root. It takes 120 years of lifespan to upgrade a low-level spiritual root to a middle-level spiritual root. It takes 240 years of lifespan to upgrade a mid-level spiritual root to a high-level spiritual root. It takes 500 years of lifespan to upgrade a high-level spiritual root to a top-level spiritual root. The lifespan of the Qi training stage is 150 years, the lifespan of the foundation building stage is 300 years, the lifespan of the Jindan stage is 500 years, and the lifespan of the nascent soul stage is 1000 years. Using the burning longevity Dafa to change aptitude, there are not a few years to live, it is completely useless. No wonder Chen Kongming will take out this secret technique. Only the blood sect, which is demoted to blood slaves if they fail to break through the stipulated time, will someone choose to use it in a desperate attempt to survive. It's tasteless to others, but to Jiang Chen who has a modifier, it's a magic skill. Must have. Although he was eager in his heart, Jiang Chen behaved very calmly. Senior brother is right, this is indeed a secret technique to improve aptitude, but the price is too high. Jiang Chen shook his head. Junior brother, I am a low-level spiritual root, I am 22 years old this year, and I only have a few years to live after using the secret, so what's the point? Chen Kongming hurriedly said, Junior brother was lucky enough to make a breakthrough this time, but next time he won't be so lucky. Compared to being demoted to a blood slave, he will be happier for a few years. Jiang Chen seems to have been persuaded, a little hesitant. Seeing that there was hope, Chen Kong struck while the iron was hot. As long as 10 bowls of blood essence are needed, this secret technique will be given to my junior. Jiang Chen wanted to bargain at first, but he had just broken through, and if he lost too much essence and blood, his realm would fall, so he planned to change the condition. I just broke through, my realm is unstable, and the sect is about to be assessed again, so I can't produce so much blood. Can senior brother let me pay first? Yes, junior brother can give it to me after the sect's assessment. Chen Kongming agreed very simply. After all, burning Xiao Da Fa is relatively tasteless. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com has few people who want it, and he will not only sell it to one person, and other people may also give it away in exchange. It is better to sell it now. Jiang Chen put the secret technique into his arms calmly, then I will make a written note for senior brother. No, I trust my junior brother. Chen Kongming was not afraid of Jiang Chen's backlash, as he was an inner disciple behind him, so he sold it off. Jiang Chen was moved, thank you, brother, for your trust. Brother has other things to do, so don't bother me. Chen Kongming turned around and walked towards the Internal Affairs Hall without wasting any time. Jiang Chen resisted the urge to read Ran Xiao Da Fa carefully, pretended to be nonchalant, and walked to the Internal Affairs Hall. As soon as he entered the Internal Affairs Hall, he saw Chen Kongming whispering to a disciple of the 4th level of Qi training, probably also selling secret techniques. Jiang Chen ignored it and continued to line up to receive the demon blood. Inside the cave mansion, Jiang Chen was seriously studying the Leng Xiao Da Fa. When he finished reading all of them, the voice of the modifier sounded. Detected the secret method burning longevity Da Fa, which can improve the training qualification side effects, overdrawing the body's potential, burning lifespan, greatly reducing lifespan. Please wait a moment, the system is being modified, ding. The modification is complete, and the side effects are cancelled. Good. Although Jiang Chen had already guessed, but seeing the revised results, he couldn't help but applaud loudly. In this way, he can raise his spiritual root to the top level, and his practice speed will be several times faster, and foundation building is almost a certainty. Thinking of this, Jiang Chen couldn't help being fascinated. Using the burning longevity Da Fa requires retreat, but now there is a sect task in hand. Jiang Chen is ready to use it after completing the sect task. The Beast Garden, it is said to be a garden, is actually a mountain that has been hollowed out, in which countless monsters are kept in captivity. Looking at the Beast Garden that was constantly roaring from monsters, Jiang Chen took a deep breath and walked to the entrance at the foot of the mountain. There are more than a dozen disciples guarding here, each of whom has the cultivation base of the 6th level of Qi training. From time to time, other disciples came in and out, presumably they also accepted the task of taking the blood of the demon. I heard that there are deacons from the foundation establishment stage in the zoo, but Jiang Chen didn't see it. Senior brother, I have accepted the task of obtaining the blood of the demon and come to report. Jiang Chen took out his ID card and handed it to the guard disciple who was in charge of registration. The guard disciple took the sign and after confirming it, he took out a token and a bottle and introduced it. This is an array card. After inputting spiritual power, it can control the beast prison array and turn it into chains to restrain monsters. This bottle is a blood storage bottle. It can be stimulated by injecting spiritual power to absorb monster blood. Your task today is to go to cave number 29 to get blood and fill up the blood storage bottle. Pay attention, you can't let the monster die. Speaking of this, the guard disciple's tone became fierce. If you swallow the monster's blood privately, you will replace the monster. Thank you for the reminder, brother, I understand. Jiang Chen took the token bottle, saluted, and then walked into the animal garden. It's not surprising that there are many people, not to mention that this is a magic school, everyone is affected by the exercises, and their spirits are abnormal, and they may hold grudges because of trivial things. There is a cave at a certain distance on the mountain of the animal garden. There are numbers written outside the cave, which are very easy to recognize. His task is to go to cave number 29 to get blood. He just needs to find the cave with the corresponding number. On the way, Xiaoqiang studied the blood storage bottle in his hand. Although the bottle is only the size of a palm, the consciousness sinks into the bottle and can sense a space the size of a water tank. In addition to storing blood, the blood storage bottle can also prevent the loss of spiritual energy in the blood. It can be said to be a must-have item for the disciples of the blood god sect to go out. It's a good thing, but it's a pity that I have to return it when it's used up. Xiaoqiang played with the blood storage bottle fondly, and would have to fix it no matter what. Soon, Xiaoqiang came to the cave with 29 written on it. Ho ho ho, hiss hiss. In the cave, there are constantly angry roars and roars of monsters, accompanied by bursts of foul smells. The huge cave is like a huge mouth waiting to be swallowed, which is frightening. Xiaoqiang didn't dare to be careless, and walked into the cave cautiously. This is a wide tunnel with stone chambers on both sides of the gate, which serve as prisons for monsters. There is no fence, but instead a layer of transparent light film that glistens with blood, which is the so-called array. In the first stone room, a tiger demon was imprisoned, and its aura was about 5 levels of Qi training. The tiger demon crawled on its body, in an attacking state, and stared at Xiaoqiang viciously. The black demonic aura around him was as solid as it was, baring its teeth and claws. Suddenly, the tiger demon moved. Roar! The tiger demon let out a deafening roar, and rushed towards Xiaoqiang fiercely. The demonic aura swept around like a gust of wind, and it was breathtaking. Xiaoqiang, who saw the demon for the first time, was intimidated by the momentum, and was stunned for a moment. Boom! The tiger demon slammed into the light film and let out a cry of pain. Looking at the tiger demon that got up again, Xiaoqiang came back to his senses, with lingering fear on his face. Fortunately, there is a formation blocking it, otherwise I would have died just now. Xiaoqiang realized his shortcomings at this moment. As a time traveler, he had never faced a real tiger, let alone a tiger demon. That frightening aura made his thinking dull and his mind go blank. In addition, it hasn't been long since time travel, and the thinking has not yet changed. In the face of emergencies, Kong has all his strength and doesn't know how to use it. This task of taking blood may be a good opportunity for exercise. If you can't overcome your inner fear, hunting monsters in the future will be more or less dangerous. Xiaoqiang took a deep breath, tried to calm himself down, looked at the tiger demon, and faced his fear. Feeling the provocation, the tiger demon aroused its ferocity, and pounced on Xiaoqiang again and again, but was blocked by the light film. Seeing the impotent barking of the tiger demon, Xiaoqiang's fear gradually disappeared, and he even wanted to laugh. But he kept reminding himself in his heart that this was because of the protection of the formation, and he must not underestimate the monsters. Xiaoqiang calmed down, ready to start taking the demon blood. Spirit power was poured into the array card, and with a thought, the light film turned into blood chains, binding and restraining the tiger demon. Roar ho! The tiger demon struggled hard, but to no avail. Xiaoqiang didn't approach rashly, and when he raised his hand, blood gushed out and condensed into a whip in his hand. Snapped! The blood whip slapped the tiger demon fiercely, and his skin was torn apart. Roar! The tiger demon roared in pain, its ferocity increased instead of diminished. Xiaoqiang had no intention of torturing the tiger demon, so he took out the blood storage bottle and injected spiritual energy. The blood in the blood storage bottle flashed, and a suction force was generated, and fresh blood flowed out from the tiger demon's wound and was sucked into the bottle. With the loss of blood, the tiger demon's aura became weaker and weaker, its cry became weaker and weaker, and its struggle became weaker and weaker. After a while, Xiaoqiang felt that it was almost done, so he stopped transmitting spiritual energy to the blood storage bottle. Without the aura, the suction of the blood bottle disappeared, and the tiger demon's wound no longer bleeds. Jiang Chen's consciousness sank into the bottle, and there was about a bucket of demon blood in the bottle. Okay, next. Things went well, Jiang Chen nodded in satisfaction, and Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com walked towards the stone room next to him. This stone room imprisoned a deer demon, whose antlers were as beautiful and dangerous as white jade. The deer demon was lying on the ground, looking very weak. His aura was around the third level of Qi training, and his smooth fur was covered with scars, obviously often blood was drawn. Jiang Chen didn't relax his vigilance because of this, and injected spiritual power into the formation cards. Yo yo yo! The deer demon bound by the blood chain screamed and screamed, kicking its hooves wildly, struggling hard. Hey, Jiang Chen sighed, how similar he was to these monsters, it was just a different way of raising them. The only thing he can do is to become stronger, so strong that he can control his own destiny. Jiang Chen kept moving his hands, blood condensed into a sword in his hands, and slashed towards the hind leg of the deer demon. The subsequent blood collection was relatively smooth, and Jiang Chen was very cautious, and there was no danger. After half a day. The blood storage bottle is full, please examine it. Jiang Chen respectfully handed the blood storage bottle back. The guard disciple took the blood storage bottle, scanned his thoughts, and nodded after confirming that it was correct. Give me back the formation card, and you can leave. Yes, brother. Jiang Chen also returned the formation card. The guarding disciple ignored him, and Jiang Chen also turned around and left with interest. Today's task is completed, and the fear of monsters has been overcome. The fly in the ointment is that I haven't met the inner disciples. Jiang Chen didn't forget another purpose, to become the spokesperson for the inner disciples to sell demon blood in the outer sect. But he didn't dare to stay near the zoo all the time, for fear of causing misunderstandings and being suspected of being a spy and plotting evil. But this is only the first day, and the task deadline is 1 month, so don't worry. On the way back, Jiang Chen saw a woman walking towards him, and subconsciously planned to avoid it. Brother, please stop. The woman suddenly called out. Jiang Chen stopped and looked around in surprise. This is a female student at the third level of Qi training. She has a pretty face and has obviously been well groomed. Jiang Chen, who had seen the big world, was very calm, and asked with doubts, what's the matter with this junior sister? Brother, do you think sister is pretty? As long as you have a bowl of blood, sister can spend the night with brother. As she said that, the woman gave Jiang Chen a wink. Jiang Chen looked regretful. Junior sister is naturally very beautiful, but I have just broken through, and my realm is unstable, so I have no luck. The woman didn't want to give up at this point. With tears in her eyes, feeling wronged, she looked at Jiang Chen pitifully. Senior brother, you also know that the sect assessment is about to come. Junior sister doesn't want to become a blood slave, so she has no choice but to make a bad move. Please pity me, senior brother. I just made a breakthrough by chance. I have no right to pity my junior sister. I should find someone else. Jiang Chen shook his head, unmoved. Then junior sister won't bother senior brother. She couldn't do anything about it, and the woman could only leave in disappointment, looking for her next target. Looking at the back of the woman leaving, Jiang Chen sighed in his heart, this is the cruel magic gate. Female disciples can also use their bodies as capital to seek a glimmer of life. And the male disciple can only swallow a large amount of demon blood for a fight like the original owner, or use the method of burning life to improve his aptitude, and die in a few years. Back at the residence, Jiang Chen became familiar with controlling the blood spirit power in his body. After being petrified by the tiger demon, he also realized a problem. In the face of emergencies, he doesn't know how to control blood attacks or resist, that is to say, he has no experience in combat and his reaction ability is not enough. What if there is a sneak attack in the future? He wants to make controlling blood attack or defense a physical instinct. Be prepared for danger in times of peace, and have to plan ahead in the magic gate. The blood surged, constantly changing around Jiang Chen. Sometimes various weapons, sometimes shields, sometimes attack, sometimes defend. On the second day, on the way to the zoo, Jiang Chen found many female disciples pestering the male disciples, and even several female disciples surrounded a male disciple. The female disciple is also very introverted. Seeing the female disciple, Jiang Chen tried to walk around as much as possible. Those female disciples saw that Jiang Chen was avoiding snakes and scorpions, so they didn't step forward to make fun of themselves. Your mission today is to go to cave number 35 to collect blood. Thank you, brother. Jiang Chen started today's task with the array card and the blood storage bottle. With yesterday's experience, he is very handy and orderly in drawing blood today. After taking blood from this one, the blood storage bottle should be full. Jiang Chen skillfully injected spiritual power into the array card, and controlled the light film to turn into a chain to bind a wolf demon. Just as Jiang Chen's blood condensed into a soldier and was about to draw blood, a wind blade suddenly shot out from the wolf demon's mouth. Jiang Chen turned pale with shock, subconsciously raised his hand, and the blood soldier in his hand turned into a blood shield. Boom! The blood shield was sunken and twisted, resisting the wind blade without any risk. It's dangerous. Jiang Chen's heart was beating violently, as if it was about to jump out of his chest. Just now he felt the breath of death, just a little bit. If it wasn't for realizing his own shortcomings yesterday, he controlled his blood and practiced attack and defense all night. Still have some muscle memory now, he really could have died just now. He thought he was careful enough to take blood, but he almost capsized the gutter. Responding to Jiang Chen's thoughts, the formation created a blood chain again, binding the wolf's mouth. Woo woo woo! The wolf demon couldn't open his mouth, so he could only whimper continuously, staring at Jiang Chen fiercely with fierce eyes. In order to take blood in the future, the monster's mouth must be sealed. This crisis made Jiang Chen more cautious. There were no problems in the next few days, and the day of the Sect's assessment was getting closer and closer, and the Blood God Sect was filled with tension. Some people even sneaked up on the same door, knocked out and drew blood. This made Jiang Chen more cautious, practicing blood control every day, and being alert to the people around him. When he went to the Internal Affairs Hall to collect the demon blood, he also saw many people turned into grey-haired old men. Jiang Chen knew that these people used the burning Xiao Dafa. If there is no modifier, maybe he is one of them. Today, as usual, he came down from the mountain of the Beast Garden and handed in the formation card and the blood storage bottle. Just as he was about to leave, a man in a light red robe walked towards the animal garden. Finally waiting for the son of the inner family. Jiang Chen felt nervous, thinking about how to strike up a conversation. In the Blood God Sect, the clothes of the outer disciples are white and red, like blood-stained white clothes, while the clothes of the inner disciples are light red, like faded blood clothes. Senior Brother Li, you are here. A disciple guarding the Beast Garden greeted him. Senior Brother Li looked proud, and took out a cloth bag and handed it over. There are 2 key training second-level monsters in the spiritual cultivation bag, one was handed over to the sect. The other is my personal one. I will put it in the animal garden for me and raise it in captivity. I will give you some rewards when I take blood later. Thank you, senior brother, I will definitely take good care of my junior brother's monster. The guard disciple excitedly took the nurturing spirit bag. Brother Li didn't say anything anymore, and turned around to leave. Don't miss this opportunity. Jiang Chen gritted his teeth and said, Brother Li, please stay. Brother Li frowned, and glanced at Jiang Chen indifferently. What's the matter? Jiang Chen took a deep breath. Does senior brother Li have any intention of exchanging essence blood at the outer door? I want to be the spokesperson of senior brother. I can exchange at least 3 bowls of blood essence every day. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com will only have more in the future. not less. You. Senior brother Li looked at Xiaoqiang with interest. The 5th level of Qi training, it doesn't take long for the breath to break through, which means that he can pass this year's assessment, and at least he can exchange for 3 years of blood essence in the future. 3 bowls of blood is not much, but it is not easy to achieve 3 bowls a day. Outer disciples can't refine a large amount of demon blood at one time, and they don't have a blood storage bottle, so they can't store the demon blood for a long time, so they won't exchange more. Coupled with the fact that there are many other spokespersons for inner disciples in the outer sect, it would be nice to be able to exchange for a bowl of blood essence a day. He needs blood essence to practice. As long as he can get blood essence, it doesn't matter who becomes his spokesperson. Brother, please give me a chance. Xiaoqiang bowed deeply. Brother Li seemed to have seen something interesting, and smiled evilly. Okay, I will give you a chance, if you can't do 3 bowls of blood essence every day. Just use your blood to make up for it. The last few words were full of threats and intimidation, like the roar of a ghost. Thank you, brother. Xiaoqiang was not afraid, but excited. He devoured the demon blood without any side effects, and he could devour it all the time. When he uses the burning longevity Dafa to improve his aptitude, the speed of refining the demon blood will increase significantly. 3 bowls of blood essence are very simple for him. Okay, from now on, you are the spokesperson of me, Li Momen, in the outer section. As he said that, Li Momen took out a blood storage bottle and threw it to Xiaoqiang. The demon blood in this bottle is replaced with 6 bowls of refined blood. In 2 days, come find me in the number 14 inner gate cave. Xiaoqiang quickly caught the blood storage bottle and saluted respectfully. I will definitely complete the task. Hey, I'll wait for you. Li Momen grinned, turned, and left. After Li Momen walked away, Xiaoqiang straightened up. The excitement on his face could no longer be concealed. In this way, he has a fixed source of demon blood and does not need to exchange it with others, reducing the possibility of exposure. Otherwise, with the speed at which he was consuming demon blood, frequent exchanges of blood would easily arouse suspicion. Congratulations to senior brother Li, junior brother. I hope junior brother will take care of you in the future. The guard disciple next to him stepped forward to compliment him, wanting to get closer. Definitely. Although Xiaoqiang became the spokesperson, Xiaoqiang must not know this senior brother Li Momen, so he took the opportunity to ask. I don't know how much senior brother knows about senior brother Li Momen. The guardian disciple enthusiastically introduced, I don't know much about senior brother Li. I heard that senior brother Li is a high-level spiritual root. He is now practicing Qi at the 9th level. He is one of the most promising candidates to build a foundation and become a direct disciple. If you want to become an inner disciple, you must first have the 7th level of Qi training, and then participate in the inner sect competition and get a ranking within 100. Because the task of inner disciples is to go out to catch monsters, if they don't have the strength to go out, they will die. For the Blood God sect, these disciples are mobile blood banks, so they cannot be wasted. But to become a direct disciple, one needs to establish a foundation period, or be accepted as a disciple by the elders. After getting the information he wanted to know, Xiaoqiang continued to politely say a few words, and then left with an excuse. Inside the cave, Xiaoqiang took out the blood storage bottle given by Li Momen, and sank into it to check. The space in this blood storage bottle is as big as the blood storage bottle in the animal garden, and it is full of demon blood, which is equivalent to 12 barrels of demon blood. The demon blood here only needs me to exchange 6 bowls of blood essence. Xiaoqiang knew that the spokespersons of the outer sect made a lot of money, but he didn't expect to earn so much. A bowl of essence and blood is exchanged for a barrel, which is quite a 50/50ths profit. From now on, I can drink the demon blood. Xiaoqiang couldn't wait to pour out a bucket of demon blood from the blood storage bottle, and then began to practice. Suddenly, blood mist filled the cave, covering Xiaoqiang's figure. Dang dang dang! The crisp bell rang through the blood god sect. This is the morning bell, and when it rings, it means dawn. Xiaoqiang breathed out a foul breath, and slowly opened his eyes. This power is really fascinating. Although he practiced all night, he only felt vigorous spiritual power in his body, full of strength, without a trace of fatigue. After swallowing a bigu pill, Xiaoqiang got up and went to the zoo. Bigu pill, each disciple can receive 10 pills every month, and eat 1 pill for 3 days without feeling hungry. Xiaoqiang found that there were very few people on the road today, and everyone he met was in a hurry. But he soon understood why, because a man who practiced qi at the 6th level blocked his way. This brother needs blood essence to break through the realm recently. How about lending some blood essence to brother first? He said yes, but his tone was full of threats. I'm the spokesperson for senior brother Li Momen. Senior brother, are you sure you want to borrow it? Xiaoqiang didn't want to get entangled, and moved out of the backer directly. The man's face changed, and he showed a flattering smile. I'm sorry, brother, I admitted the wrong person. Xiaoqiang smiled slightly. Brother, please move out of the way. Yes. The man quickly stepped out of the way. Xiaoqiang ignored the man and continued walking towards the zoo. Not far away, he heard arguing behind him. I don't know you well, why should I borrow you? Don't borrow it. As a senior brother, I have an obligation to give advice to my junior fellow apprentices, so let me teach my junior fellow apprentices to practice. Although it is not allowed to kill each other in the blood god sect, it is still not a big problem to beat people and slightly injure them. Xiaoqiang shook his head and didn't mind his own business. As the date of the sex assessment is getting closer and closer, these disciples who cannot meet the requirements, in order not to become blood slaves, can only do whatever it takes to improve their cultivation in various ways. Xiaoqiang's current strength is low, and he just wants to develop slowly, and doesn't want to cause trouble. Coupled with the fact that he can pull the tiger skin of Li Momen, an inner disciple, he will basically not encounter any trouble. When he came to the animal garden, Xiaoqiang didn't go to get blood immediately, but talked with the guard disciple who arranged the task. Excuse me, brother, where can I get a blood storage bottle? Do you want a blood storage bottle? The guard disciple was taken aback for a moment, and then thought of something. That's right, you are now the spokesperson of senior brother Li, and you have excess demon blood, so you need a blood storage bottle to keep the demon blood alive. Xiaoqiang nodded. Brother, is there a way to get a blood storage bottle? The guard disciple was moved. He was in charge of distributing the blood storage bottles. As long as the arrangements were made properly, no one would know if there was one missing, so he said softly. Junior brother gave me 12 bowls of blood essence, how about I give junior brother a blood storage bottle? Xiaoqiang looked embarrassed. Brother, can you have less? 12 bowls of blood is too much. The guard disciple thought for a moment. For brother Li's sake, I'll sell my brother 10 bowls of blood essence, nothing less. Xiaoqiang pretended to be tangled for a while, and nodded distressedly. Okay, brother, I will bring the blood tomorrow, and the brother will prepare the blood storage bottle. Junior brother, don't worry. After a deal was negotiated, the guard disciple became even more enthusiastic. Especially for the public to seek personal gain, without paying anything, the 10 bowls of blood can be said to be prostitutes for nothing. Xiaoqiang didn't want the blood storage bottle to hold demon blood, but to hold his own blood. He was afraid that his cultivation base would increase too quickly, causing others to suspect him. This is also thanks to the characteristics of blood nerve. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Blood is mana, which can perfectly absorb each other. He only needs to store the blood in a blood storage bottle to conceal his cultivation, and reabsorb it when needed. With the blood storage bottle, he doesn't have to worry about anything anymore, he can freely devour the demon blood and transform it into practice. On the second day, Xiaoqiang obtained a blood storage bottle as he wished at the price of 10 bowls of blood. After completing the task of today's animal garden, Zhang Chen came to the inner gate with a blood storage bottle containing 6 bowls of blood essence. Although the treatment of the inner disciples is much better than that of the outer disciples, there are only 10 inner disciples on a big mountain, and the area of the cave is very huge. For example, the outer disciples have 1 bedroom and 1 living room, while the inner disciples are single-family villas. Each cave was marked with a number, so Zhang Chen easily found cave number 14. Senior brother Li, can you meet Zhang Chen, an outer disciple? Zhang Chen stood respectfully outside the cave. After a while, Li Momen walked out of the cave with a cold expression on his face. Can the task be completed? This is the blood in exchange, brother, please check it. Zhang Chen held the blood storage bottle in both hands and handed it over. Li Momen picked up the blood storage bottle, his consciousness swept away, and he showed a satisfied smile. Well, not bad. Immediately afterwards, he took out another blood storage bottle and threw it to Zhang Chen. Continue to replace it with essence blood. Yes, senior brother. Zhang Chen excitedly caught the blood storage bottle. Okay, you can go. Li Momen didn't intend to talk, and turned back to the cave. In the following days, Zhang Chen lived a very regular and peaceful life. He went to the zoo to get blood in the morning, and went to the internal affairs hall to get the demon blood. Soon, came the day of the sex assessment. Boom boom boom. The bell rang through the blood god sect. Different from the crispness of the morning bell, this time the bell was dull and heavy. Zhang Chen knew that this was a notification from the sex assessment. When Zhang Chen came to the square, it was already full of people, roughly 2,000 people. There are also hundreds of inner disciples who are rarely seen, and the pale red costumes are clearly distinguishable from the outer disciples. Some were terrified, some were excited, some were proud, with different expressions. Senior brother Wang, you have made a breakthrough. Haha, junior brother Lu, you have also made a breakthrough. Whoever saves me, I don't want to be a blood slave, I don't want to be a blood slave. Looking at the noisy crowd, Zhang Chen thought to himself, I don't know how many people will become blood slaves. An hour later, the crowd suddenly fell silent because 7 blood shadows fell from the sky. After landing, the blood light distorted and turned into 5 men and 2 women. A young man, 2 middle-aged men, 2 old men, a young girl, and an old woman. They had different expressions, flat, indifferent, mocking, teasing, and even licked their lips with a look of bloodthirsty. The only thing in common is that they are all wearing scarlet robes, exuding a powerful aura and full of oppression. They are the direct disciples of the Foundation establishment period. Suddenly, the smell of blood in the air became extremely strong, and a river of blood emerged from the sky. The blood river surged, the blood boiled, the blood waves surged, covering the sky and the sun, and they came to the top of everyone in the blink of an eye. Under the majestic power of the blood river, everyone felt extremely oppressed, the blood in their bodies couldn't control them, and they wanted to break out of their bodies and join the blood river. Zhang Chen's face turned pale, he tried hard to suppress the blood in his body, and his heart was full of fear. This kind of fear is like encountering a natural enemy. It comes from the heart and is completely out of control. The 7 direct disciples bowed their hands and bowed respectfully towards Sui He. Welcome Elder Sui He. Welcome to the Elder Sui He. Everyone hurriedly saluted towards Sui He. A vortex appeared out of thin air in the center of the blood river, and with just a few breaths, it absorbed all the blood in the sky and condensed into an old man in a big red robe. It was the famous Jindan elder of the blood god sect, the patriarch of blood river. The ancestor of Sui He exuded an aura like an abyss and a mountain, and said without emotion, the examination of the sect starts now, and all those who have not arrived will be demoted to blood slaves. Respect the elder's decree, disciples from the inner and outer sects who have not arrived will be reduced to blood slaves. The 7 direct disciples used their mana to repeat the words of the elder Jindan. Under the blessing of mana, the sound was like a thunderclap, which shook everyone's ears. Some disciples who tried to hide because their cultivation had not met the requirements were ashamed when they heard this. The assessment begins. The ancestor of Sui announced in a deep voice. The voice was not loud, but there was a magical power that touched everyone's minds. Respect the elder's decree. The 7 direct disciples first saluted the ancestor of Sui, then turned to face the crowd and opened their mouths. Stand in front of me after 3 years in the section. Stand in front of me after 6 years in the section. Stand in front of me for 9 years in the section. Each direct disciple corresponds to a number of years of entry into the sect, allowing the disciples of the inner and outer sects to stand in line. The Blood God sect accepts apprentices once every 3 years. They have just joined the sect as a handyman disciple, doing some chores, and are required to successfully absorb the spirit into the body within 3 years, step into the first level of Qi training, and become an outer disciple. After entering the sect for 6 years, it is required to reach the 3rd level of Qi training. In the 9th year of entering the sect, it is required to reach the 5th level of Qi training, and after that, it is required to increase 1 level of cultivation every 3 years. In other words, reach the 9th level of Qi training within 21 years, and then have 9 years to hit the foundation building stage. Those who fail to meet the standards at all stages have only one end, which is to be demoted to blood slaves and drain all the blood from their bodies. It has been 9 years since the original owner entered the sect, so Xiaoqiang stood in front of the disciples who represented 9 years. This direct disciple was a middle-aged man, tall and contemptuous, looking at them as outside disciples like ants. Xiaoqiang didn't like this kind of gaze very much, but he didn't dare to show it. He could only think to himself, soon I will surpass you and become the existence you look up to. Thinking of this, Xiaoqiang glanced at Patriarch Sui who looked like a demon. In the future, I can do the same. There are 200 disciples in the same group as Xiaoqiang, and the number of disciples decreases as they go up. Seeing that everything has been done, the direct disciples said again, take out your ID cards and inject spiritual power. Hearing this, Xiaoqiang honestly took out his identity card and injected spiritual power. With the injection of spiritual power, the identity card emits blood, and the information of the licensee is transformed in the air. Name: Xiaoqiang Kui. When entered the sect in 320 years. The same is true for other identity cards, but the name and time of entering the clan are different. During the foundation building period, one possesses divine consciousness, and one can confirm the information and current state of all disciples with one sweep of the divine consciousness. After 6 years in the sect, you actually pretended to stand in front of me for 3 years. A direct disciple suddenly sneered, and blood gushed out from his body, covering one person. The disciple yelled in horror, "Brother, please forgive me, I misheard just now, so I stood in the wrong place." He. The direct disciple sneered, and grabbed the void with his hand. The disciple suddenly let out a scream, a lot of blood gushed out from his body, and he was drained instantly. Crack! A shriveled corpse fell to the ground. Immediately afterwards, other direct disciples also started. The blood on their bodies stretched out like tentacles. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Entangled an outer disciple. One of the blood tentacles stretched out in Xiaoqiang's direction, scaring Xiaoqiang into a cold sweat and almost controlling his blood to resist. However, the target of the blood tentacles was not Xiaoqiang, but the disciple next to him. Even so, watching a big living person next to him being drained of blood made his heart beat faster. Ah! Immediately, there were screams one after another in the square. No matter whether it is the first level of Qi training or the 8th level of Qi training, they have no resistance, and their blood is drained instantly. With the Blood River Patriarch of the Golden Core stage sitting in the town, they dared not resist even if they wanted to. In a short while, hundreds of mummified corpses lay in disorder on the ground. All of them were shriveled and haggard, with their mouths wide open, looking hideous and terrifying. A small number of them intend to muddle through. use secret techniques to temporarily increase their realm, or use other people's identity cards and the time of entering the sect, and most of them are not up to the standard. Even among the inner disciples, more than a dozen of them were drained of blood. The ancestor of Sui was expressionless, as if those who fell were not people, but weeds on the side of the road. The faces of the 7 direct disciples were flushed, and their faces were refreshed and intoxicated, with unfinished thoughts. Although he knew that the demon sect was cruel, but seeing this scene, Xiaoqiang still felt chills all over his body. If he could, he didn't want to be in this precarious magic door, but he had no choice. This is only visible, those who, like the original owner, ventured to break through and die do not know how many. The 7 direct disciples glanced at the remaining people, resisting the desire to drain them all, and announced, "You guys are qualified." All the disciples breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, the ancestor of Sui said, "My blood god sect does not raise waste, so you should work hard to practice, otherwise those corpses on the ground will be your end." Although it sounded more like a threat than a reminder, everyone still wanted to thank Dade for his salute. "Thank you, Elder, for your reminder." Patriarch Sui ignored the crowd and disappeared into a streak of blood. "Farewell to the Elder." Everyone saluted again. Patriarch Sui left, but the 7 true disciples were still there, and everyone still stood there respectfully, not daring to breathe. The 7 true disciples ignored everyone and began to talk on their own. How to distribute those who hid and didn't come to participate in the sect assessment? Otherwise, we will each go in the same direction, and it all depends on luck. Okay, I choose Dong. Then I'm in the southeast. I'm west. After the 7 true disciples were assigned, they turned into blood lights and flew in all directions. It's finally over. Only then did everyone dare to straighten their backs and talk to each other. Those inner disciples also returned to their aloof appearance, and they didn't look straight at the outer disciples. Xiaoqiang didn't intend to talk, so he turned and walked towards the cave. Back in the cave, Xiaoqiang began to think about how to go in the future. The first is to complete the mission of the sect first, and then use the burning longevity Dafa to improve the qualifications. With the improvement of aptitude, the speed of practice will also increase, and with Li Momen providing the demon blood, within half a year, he should be able to break through the 7th level of Qi training and reach the qualification to compete for inner disciples. But the cultivation base has improved too fast, which can easily arouse his suspicion. It is difficult for a student who was originally of low aptitude and whose cultivation level barely reached the standard to suddenly make rapid progress. The gun hits the head bird, so it is better to continue to hide. Perhaps, you can find a few spells to practice. Is junior brother Zhang here? An inquiry came from outside the cave, interrupting Zhang Chen's thoughts. Hearing the voice, Zhang Chen understood that it was Chen Kongming who had come. He owed 10 bowls of blood essence in exchange for Ran Shao Dafa, and promised to give it after passing the sex assessment. What he lacks most now is essence and blood, so he responded and walked out, "Yes." Hearing the response, Chen Kongming knew that Zhang Chen didn't mean to procrastinate, and a smile appeared on his face. When he came outside the cave, Zhang Chen cupped his hands and saluted, "Brother Chen came here for the blood, right? I was planning to go to the cave in a while, but I didn't expect to ask my brother to go there in person. I happened to be passing by the junior brother's cave, so I came to visit. If the junior brother is convenient now, give me the blood." Chen Kongming didn't make any detours, and went straight to the point. "Okay, brother, please wait a moment." Zhang Chen turned around and entered the cave, found a basin and began to bleed. Although he stored a lot of blood essence in the blood storage bottle, he still chose to use the essence blood in his body because it suited his situation. How could a disciple who broke through half a month before the assessment save 10 bowls of blood? You know, a bowl of blood essence is equal to a month's cultivation. After losing 10 bowls of blood essence, Zhang Chen looked weak and fell to the 4th level of Qi training. "Senior brother Chen, this is blood essence. Zhang Chen handed over the tub containing the blood essence. Chen Kongming took the wooden basin with a smile on his face. Young brother is really trustworthy. In the future, if you need demon blood, you can come to senior brother. Senior brother can give junior brother some demon blood. Then thank you, brother. Zhang Chen didn't say that he had become the spokesperson of the inner sect. Junior brother is well rested, so I won't bother junior brother. Brother, go slowly. After sending Chen Kongming away and returning to the cave, Zhang Chen took out the blood storage bottle containing the blood essence, and prepared to return to the 5th level of Qi training. The feeling of being weak is really uncomfortable. Others don't know about his deal with Chen Kongming, so it's not a problem to return to the 5th level of Qi training. Refining a bucket of demon blood can increase one's cultivation for half a year. Zhang Chen can now refine 3 buckets of demon blood a day. It has been 10 days since I became the spokesperson, and I have obtained a total of 15 years of cultivation in these 10 days. Deduct the 3 bowls of blood essence given to Li Momen every day, in exchange for 10 bowls of blood essence in the blood storage bottle, and the 10 bowls of blood essence given to Chen Kongming just now. He still has 10 years of cultivation. If he absorbs all of them, he can immediately break through the 6th level of Qi training. For others, it is simply unimaginable. Everyone else is trying their best to improve their cultivation, only Zhang Chen is trying to hide his cultivation. Because of the special nature of the blood and nerves, and the fact that it was his own blood essence, Zhang Chen absorbed 10 bowls of blood essence and returned to the 5th level of Qi training after only half a stick of incense. Go to the Beast Garden to complete today's task, and then go to Xiaoqiang Pavilion to see if there are any spells suitable for me. After making up his mind, Zhang Chen got up and walked out. An hour later, Zhang Chen came to Xiaoqiang Pavilion. There are 4 floors in the Xiaoqiang Pavilion, and an elder of the Golden Core stage sits in charge. The first layer is the spells of the Qi training stage, the second layer is the spells of the foundation building stage, the third layer is the spells of the Jindan stage, and the fourth layer is the spells of the nascent soul stage. I heard that the suzerain only has the cultivation base of the Yuanying stage, and Zhang Chen doesn't know if the blood sect has any spells. Maybe there is, reading www.yuyuganshu.com, but it is not placed in Xiaoqiang Pavilion. But this is too far away for Zhang Chen. These spells are not obtained for free, but need to be exchanged for blood essence, so there are not many people who come to exchange spells. Most of them come to learn spells when they have reached the 7th level of Qi training and are preparing to participate in the inner sect competition. After all, the Blood God sect has a time limit, everyone is desperately improving their cultivation, and no one has time to practice spells. Brother, I want to choose a spell. Zhang Chen handed the ID card to the disciple in charge of imparting the skills. The disciples of Xiaoqiang Pavilion checked and confirmed, and took out a book and put it on the table. This is the catalog and introduction of the spells during the Qi training period, you can choose. Thank you, brother. Zhang Chen picked up the book, flipped through it, and spells came into view one by one. Blood light technique can irradiate blood light, making people blind. It needs 3 bowls of blood essence in exchange. Blood capture Ju can ingest blood from other people's body from a distance, depending on the cultivation of both parties to determine whether it is successful or not. It needs 10 bowls of blood essence in exchange. Blood arrow Ju can condense blood arrows, piercing golden cave stones within 100 feet, and requires 15 bowls of blood essence in exchange. In addition to these spells exclusive to the Blood God sect, there are also other magic spells and common spells, such as Ghost Control Art, Corpse Control Art, Fire Condensation Art, Wind Control Art, Light Body Art and so on. Zhang Chen was dazzled. If possible, he wanted to copy all the spells. But this is unrealistic, not to mention the blood essence needed. Even if he is trained, he will not be able to do it. After thinking about it, Zhang Chen decided to choose 5 spells first. A melee spell, a ranged attack spell, a defensive spell, an escape spell, and an explosive spell. Whether it is attacking, defending, or escaping, they will not fall behind. Brother, I choose to exchange for the 5 spells of Blood Demon Knife, Ice Soul Slash, Blood Armor, Blood Explosion, and Burning Blood. Are you sure? Hearing Zhang Chen's words, the disciples of the Chuangong Pavilion were taken aback. Since he was in charge of the Chuangong Pavilion, he naturally knew the 5 methods. Blood Demon Knife, the knife is full of shocking magic, it is breathtaking, those who are not determined will be slaughtered, and 10 bowls of blood are needed in exchange. Note that learning this knife technique will be tortured by the attack of magic, and you will fall into madness after a long time. Ice Soul Slash absorbs cold air and transforms it into extremely cold air, which is usually stored in the body and can freeze the enemy's blood body. It needs 10 bowls of blood essence in exchange. Note that if you learn this method, you will be eroded by yin and cold air, and your body will be poisoned by cold. Blood Armor technique uses blood to condense into armor and adheres to the surface of the skin. It is invulnerable to water and fire, and invulnerable to weapons and guns. It requires 10 bowls of blood essence in exchange. Note that learning this method will suffer from the pain of thousands of ants eating your skin, and life is worse than death. Blood Explosion technique uses spiritual power to impact the acupoints and meridians of the hands and feet, instantly speeding up 10 times, and requires 10 bowls of blood essence in exchange. Note that using this method will damage the acupoints and meridians, and may become a disabled person. Blood Burning technique, burning blood, temporarily improving cultivation, requires 10 bowls of blood essence in exchange. Note that once this method is used, it cannot be stopped until the blood burns to death. These 5 spells are all very powerful, but they have one thing in common, that is, they carry serious costs and negative effects. It is precisely because of the high cost that the blood essence needed to exchange for these 5 spells is not much. For Zhang Chen, who has a modifier, such a spell is the most suitable. In fact, many heretical spells are suitable, but there are no training resources for those spells in the Blood God sect. Sure. Zhang Chen nodded affirmatively. The two had no relatives and no reason, and the disciples of the Chuangong Pavilion didn't say much. They glanced at Zhang Chen with dead eyes, and then handed the paper with the name of the exercise into the Chuangong Pavilion. Not long after, a disciple walked out of Chuangong Pavilion with 5 books in his hand. Putting the books on the table, the disciples of the Chuangong Pavilion took out the blood vessel and said, "Let's let the blood out." 1 book contains 10 bowls of blood essence, and 5 books have a total of 50 bowls of blood essence. Zhang Chen simply raised his hand to let out blood. With the continuous loss of blood, Zhang Chen's realm quickly fell to the 3rd level of qi training, his face was pale, and his steps were vain. After confirming that it was correct, the disciples of Chuangong Pavilion handed the 5 spells to Zhang Chen. The spells exchanged for are not allowed to be taught privately, and those who violate them will be reduced to blood slaves. Thank you, brother. Zhang Chen put away his spells, saluted, and left. Looking at Zhang Chen's leaving back, Chuangong Pavilion disciples sneered, "I really don't know how to live or die." Back in the cave, Zhang Chen first replenished the lost essence and blood, reached the 5th level of qi training again, and then began to read spells. Opening Blood Demon Knife, the handwriting on it is oppressive, distorted, and weird, full of crazy artistic conception. Kill. Kill. Kill everyone. It was as if a madman kept telling him madness, trying to turn him into a madman too. Just watching, before he started practicing, he had the urge to slash with a knife. Zhang Chen read very slowly, taking a long time to turn a page, with a painful expression, profuse sweating, and trembling body. It's not that Blood Demon Knife is esoteric and difficult to understand, but to resist the madness in it. Blood Demon Knife is only a few thousand words, and Zhang Chen read it for 3 hours. After closing the Blood Demon Knife, Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief, and sat on the ground with some collapse. The moves of this crazy blood demon knife are very common, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it is a slashing, mainly because of the crazy artistic conception contained in it. Every knife is to attack the opponent's consciousness with one's crazy thoughts. The more crazy the user is, the greater the power will be. Faced with this sudden crazy idea, most people will definitely fall into a mental battle, stand there blankly, and let others slaughter them. As expected of a magic skill, if it wasn't for modifiers, I really wouldn't dare to practice it. The spell Frenzied Blood Knife was detected, killing everything with the meaning of madness and madness side effects, will be tortured by magical attacks and become lunatics. Please wait a moment, the system is being modified, ding. The modification is complete, and the side effects are cancelled. Hearing the sound of the system, Xiaoqiang frowned. The power of this blood demon knife depends entirely on the meaning of madness. I don't have the meaning of madness, so I don't know if the power is still there. After all, it was exchanged for 10 bowls of blood essence, so if it lost its power, it would be a big loss. Thinking of this, the blood condensed into a knife in Xiaoqiang's hands, and he began to practice using the bloody demon knife. Kill! 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 One knife after another, there is no move, only constant slashing. As he became more and more familiar, Xiaoqiang's waving speed became faster and faster, and became more and more chaotic. Like a lunatic who only knows how to slash. Xiaoqiang looked crazy, but his mind was clear, and there was no trace of madness in his eyes, which was in stark contrast to his behavior. Although there is no meaning of madness in his mind, Xiaoqiang still feels that every knife he has the meaning of madness. It seems that the madness in the consciousness has been changed to the madness in the sword technique, and the effect should be exactly the same. Taking the essence and discarding the dross, it is worthy of being a modifier. Xiaoqiang was overjoyed, and kept practicing the blood demon saber until his strength was exhausted, so he had to stop and rest. During the break, Xiaoqiang read Ice Soul Slash again. The reason why he chose Ice Soul Slash, reading www.yuyuganshu.com is because it said in the introduction that it can freeze the blood of the enemy. The Blood God sect mainly uses blood as an attack method, and it should be very useful for dealing with fellow sects. Freezing the opponent's blood is equivalent to weakening the opponent's mana. Ice Soul Slash is not as evil as blood demon knife, and there is no problem in reading it. The spell Ice Soul Slash is detected, absorbs the cold air, transforms it into extremely cold air and stores it in the body, and cuts it out with the knife. Air when it is used, side effects will be eroded by yin and cold air, cold poison in the body, weak and afraid of cold, shortened lifespan. Please wait a moment, the system is being modified, ding. The modification is complete, and the side effects are cancelled. OK, Ice Soul Slash can also be practiced. Xiaoqiang sat cross-legged and began to absorb the cold air in the air. An hour later, Xiaoqiang reluctantly opened his eyes. There is too little cold air in the cave, and it takes an hour to absorb enough cold air to transform into a wisp of extremely cold air. Only 10 strands can be combined into one, and one knife can be chopped out. It seems that Ice Soul Slash should be let go first, and then practiced later. With this time, whether it is refining the demon blood or practicing other spells, the improvement is much faster than Ice Soul Slash. In particular, Ice Soul Slash is still in the form of consumption, and after using it, it will reabsorb and transform the cold air. If you practice in a cold place like an ice cave, you can accumulate extremely cold air first. Xiaoqiang took out Blood Armor technique again. The spell Blood Armor was detected, and blood was condensed into armor. Side effects: you will suffer from the pain of thousands of ants eating your skin every day. Please wait a moment, the system is being modified, ding. The modification is complete, and the side effects are cancelled. Xiaoqiang circulated his spiritual power according to the method in the book, and a large amount of blood seeped out from the pores of his skin, rendering him a blood man, which was extremely terrifying. Immediately afterwards, the blood wriggled and slowly coagulated, forming a thin blood-colored tights on the surface of the body. Zhang Chen stood up and looked at the blood armor on his body. The blood armor is covered with patterns, as if made by nature, and you can vaguely see the flow of spiritual power, and the red light flickers. Atmospheric, mysterious, dazzling and gorgeous, as if just came out of a bath of blood. Zhang Chen moved his hands and feet again, and found that he didn't feel any inconvenience, so he couldn't help but nodded. I don't know how the defense is. The appearance is secondary, the most important thing is the defense. Dang! Zhang Chen reached out and knocked on the blood armor, making the sound of gold and iron colliding. It's not bad, it's not in vain that I spent a year of cultivation to condense the bleeding armor. Zhang Chen was quite satisfied, but a thin layer of blood armor was comparable to iron stone, and with a few more layers, ordinary spells could also be resisted. According to the description in blood armor technique, this blood armor can be continuously condensed and thickened, and it can withstand the attacks of the foundation building period when it is practiced to a great extent. This blood armor technique has a total of 10 layers, and just condensing one layer consumes the blood of a year's cultivation, and it consumes even more if it goes up. If you want to achieve great success, it will take at least 50 years of cultivation to condense 10 layers of blood armor. But this is not too difficult for Zhang Chen, he can practice the demon blood at will, and his cultivation base will increase very quickly. Dang dang dang! Hearing the morning bell, Zhang Chen knew that it was dawn and it was time for the zoo. With a thought, the blood armor on his body softened, as if it had been absorbed, it disappeared under the skin. After practicing spells all night last night, Zhang Chen was also a little tired, so he washed his face to refresh himself. If it's just that they don't sleep, it doesn't matter if they monks in the Qi training period don't sleep for a few days and nights. But practicing spells also consumes energy and energy, especially blood demon knife, which made Zhang Chen consume a lot of energy. The Sect's assessment had passed, Calm had returned to the Blood God Sect, and there were obviously many more disciples encountered on the road. As usual, Zhang Chen received the array card and blood storage bottle, and went to the assigned cave. In the animal garden, there are quite a few people who come to collect blood like Zhang Chen, and they often meet each other, but they seldom talk to each other. But today, a disciple greeted Zhang Chen, "Is this junior brother also here to get the demon blood?" Zhang Chen looked and found that the opponent was actually at the 7th level of Qi training. What he can wear is still the clothes of the outer sect, not the disciples of the inner sect. It should be that he has just practiced the 7th level of Qi not long ago. Although he didn't know what the other party wanted to do, Zhang Chen still responded politely, "Brother, yes." The disciple approached and asked, "My name is Lu Wenyu, what is the name of this junior?" "I met senior brother Lu, my name is Zhang Chen." Zhang Chen answered with cupped hands. Lu Wenyu smiled and said, "Junior brother Zhang, it's like this, I need some demon blood recently, junior brother can take more when taking blood, and then sell it to me. As long as you don't take too much, those monsters will be fine. For the younger brother, it's a no-cost deal. I can buy it from the younger brother for the price of a bowl of blood essence and 2 barrels of demon blood." Zhang Chen suddenly realized that he had to buy it from the spokespersons of the outer sect. It turned out that he wanted to buy 2 buckets of demon blood for a bowl of blood. If each monster is well controlled and only a little more blood is drawn, it is indeed feasible and the risk is not great. But with his current training speed and the demon blood provided by Li Momen, he is not short of essence blood, and there is no need to do extra things for a little essence blood. "I'm sorry senior brother Lu, I'm not interested." Zhang Chen shook his head and refused. Lu Wenyu did not give up, and continued, "To tell you the truth, junior brother, I want the demon blood to practice spells and compete for the position of inner disciple. If I become an inner disciple, junior brother will gain my friendship. Senior brother Lu, let's find someone else. Brother Lu, let me wish you great success and become an inner disciple." Zhang Chen cupped his hands and left. Lu Wenyu was a little surprised, he didn't expect that the other party would refute his face. He asked a lot of people in the zoo, and after hearing about this no-cost deal, he would basically agree. Even if they disagreed at first, they would agree after hearing that he wanted to compete for inner disciples. After all, who wouldn't want to gain the friendship and favor of an inner disciple? Lu Wenyu looked at Zhang Chen's back, his expression changed. Letting people draw more demon blood is stealing the sect's resources. Even if the sect doesn't care about this trivial matter, it will offend those inner sect disciples who sell demon blood. If everyone like Lu Wenyu directly came to the zoo to buy demon blood at a low price, how would they sell their demon blood? Therefore, those inner disciples who sell demon blood will definitely suppress this kind of behavior. After a while, Lu Wenyu turned around and walked down the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, the animal garden disciple who was in charge of registration saw Lu Wenyu, and hurriedly greeted him warmly. "Senior brother Lu, I heard that you are going to compete for the position of inner disciple, so don't forget about me in the future." "Definitely." Lu Wenyu responded politely, and then stated his purpose. "By the way, I want to ask my junior brother about something. As long as I know, I must tell senior brother Lu." The disciple of the Beast Garden responded very simply. During the mission of blood collection in the Beast Garden, there is a 5th level Qi training student called Zhang Chen. "Do you know him?" Lu Wenyu asked. "Junior brother Zhang. I recognize him." Senior brother Lu asked junior brother Zhang, "What's the matter?" "I don't know how much junior brother knows about this junior brother Zhang." Lu Wenyu asked without answering. "Don't look at junior brother Zhang, who is only practicing Qi at the 5th level, but his courage is amazing." The animal garden disciple gave a thumbs up, and then began to talk about Zhang Chen's deeds. Half a month ago, senior brother Li Mumen from the inner sect came to hand in the task. The disciples from the outer sect trembled when they saw the senior brother from the inner sect, and they were afraid of offending the senior fellow from the inner sect. Brother Zhang actually stepped forward to recommend himself to be the spokesperson for senior brother Li. Hearing the words of the Beast Garden disciples, Lu Wenyu's heart sank. No wonder he refused, it was like asking the government to buy smuggled salt. He knew Li Mumen's name, he was one of the inner sect disciples who had the most hope of establishing a foundation, and he couldn't afford to offend him. "No, you can no longer buy demon blood in the animal garden, and you must find a way to remedy it." At this moment, the disciple of the Beast Garden said, "I don't know if senior brother Lu can inquire about junior brother Zhang? I can introduce senior brother." After regaining his senses, Lu Wenyu quickly said, "Thank you, junior brother, no need. I just met junior brother Zhang in the animal garden, and we had a great conversation. I intend to make friends, but I don't know what kind of person Zhang is, so I came to inquire." "Senior brother Lu, let me tell you, brother Zhang can deal with him." The disciples of the animal garden praised Zhang Chen. "Yes, yes." Lu Wenyu thought of a remedy in his mind, absent-minded. After drawing the blood, handing in the formation card and the blood storage bottle, Zhang Chen walked quickly to his cave. Blood explosion and burning blood, he hasn't read these two spells yet, he needs to master them as soon as possible.